for daily living, and today I'm coming on to talk to you about meditation. So, over the years, over 20 some years that I've been teaching people about the body and specifically teaching more spiritual yogic practices, the last 15, 16 years, people will come up to me and ask me about meditation. And one of the common things that people will say is, I can't sit still, I can't keep my mind blank, I could never meditate. Um, I can't even sit still for 5 minutes. And my favorite answer to give people is you don't have to. And their jaws drop and their eyes open wide and they can't believe I've just said that. So, one of the concepts of meditation, and it's just one form of meditation, is to find this idea, this state of stillness, of being, of clearing the mind, and that's great. And some people can access that. And that's a wonderful practice. Now, for many people, just finding meditation or curious about it, many can find that very challenging. So, I would like to share some other options on how to access meditation for yourself that might feel a little more adaptable and just gives you that variety to explore and find what meditation feels best for you. Just like many different types of food or different types of yoga, um, other different types of spiritual practices, meditation can be divided into different types of meditation. And you could even research different types of meditation, and I'm sure you'd get a variety. So I'd like to share some with you. So for me, I'm a mover. I like to move. I like to move energy. And one of the most challenging practices for me has been to practice stillness. And that's something till this day I still have to really carve out that time. And one of the practices that's really helped me a lot to access meditation is restorative yoga. That's what got me into teaching restorative yoga a lot as well, because I knew that if I was offering the practice, that I would have to be constantly reminded of those practices. And eventually, hopefully, they would become patterns in my own daily living. So, one of the great ways to meditate is to just go outside in nature and take a moment and just to observe what's around you. And that is meditation, just taking time to pause where you are, be in the present. I encourage at least 3 breaths. If you're not even sure if you're breathing, I would encourage placing a hand on your belly and take a moment to actually feel your breath move into your body, into your belly, and then exhale out. And it can be with a sound, or it might just be that kind of tickle wind shell sound in your throat. Okay, and you can do this with your eyes open or closed if that's comfortable for you. And then just notice after you've taken those 3 breaths, does your focus shift? Are you able to scan a little slower? Are you able to really take in what it is that is around you? That is a form of meditation. Another form, similar to that, that could be the next step, is to look around the space around you and just notice what are your eyes being drawn to. And notice those images, those places, those thoughts, and could even be memories. How does that make you feel? Does that bring you into a state of bliss or does it bring up other emotions? And there's this idea that you have to access this state of ananda, which is bliss in yogic Sanskrit. And I find that to be really challenging because we miss a lot of the other emotions. And I like to go through all of the elements, all of the seasons, all of the things, because if we don't process all of them, eventually it gets stored or it gets stuck somewhere. And we're going to either build it up and it's going to explode later, or it's going to manifest into something that's a disease or dis-ease in the body. So even during your meditation, allow yourself to process all of the emotions. So as you're scanning around, notice how your body shifts, how your feeling shifts. Does the environment shift? Does the temperature shift? Just becoming more aware of what's happening around you, really getting that tactile with your senses. And then notice where your focus wants to stop, right? And notice, is that something that brings you a sense of calm? Can you breathe easier? Does your heart soften? Or does your heart tighten and does your stomach tighten? We can shift our focus. So we always go into that point, that practice, that choice. You can always choose to shift your focus. And once you've scanned the space around you, you could go back to placing your hand on your belly, noticing some breaths with your eyes open or closed. You might, at that point, feel a sense of calm, ease, and maybe stillness. Maybe you've accessed it already, but if you're just reaching it, great. And if you haven't accessed it yet, that's okay too. Next, I would encourage you to scan the space around you again and then notice, look at the things that you're drawn to that give you that sense of relaxation. When you see it, I encourage you to say whatever that is, person, place, thing, object, animal, whatever it is, say it. So you really acknowledge, and it gives you that sense of certainty, right? So there really is no certainty except for that moment. So when you acknowledge it and then you let it go. So that is that practice of acknowledgement and then let it go. And just scan your space around you and see, what do you see? What do your eyes are being drawn to, right? If I could scan myself right now, I'd say red shirt, pink chair, gold necklace. Those are just a few things to acknowledge and give your body that, your parasympathetic state, that sense of calm and ease. Now, if you'd like to go a little deeper into practice, and this is probably going into more of the physical stillness, right? We did a meditation where you're able to look around and move and check in on your breath. You might come into a comfortable seated position. This could be sitting in a chair, it could be sitting on the ground, you could even be laying down if sitting is not comfortable for you, okay? And then I would invite you to think of a word. It could be your favorite word, right? It could be your favorite emotion. It could be something maybe your teacher has given you. Maybe your teacher has given you a mantra, or you've learned some mantras, which are just phrases or words somehow are said to have more higher vibrations with the yogic mantras, an example, okay? And to repeat it. So there's an auspicious number, which is 108. And if you can repeat 108 times, that is considered to be a whole cycle. That's that balance of the yin, the yang, the sun, the moon, the planets, the solar system. And you can look up 108. I won't get too much into it right now. And you can see also right now, I am wearing some mala beads, or also sometimes called rosary beads. So a lot of people who practice meditation, they will use this to either charge up their beads to help them through their teachings. There's a saying that when these beads break, that you have completed that cycle of whatever you are working with. If it was given to you by a teacher, you've completed that lesson that you are needing to learn or move through. There's different beliefs on whether you move the mala away from you or drawing towards you. And I find different moments I practice both, and my body will let me know when I need to shift. There is something called the teacher bead, which is right in the center, right there, just below the string. That's something that you don't want to cross over. It's just an honor and a respect to not do that. So if I was going to draw the beads towards me, I would either use my ring finger and thumb or my middle finger and thumb. Again, as a form of respect, you would not want to use your index finger, okay? And you would just roll across the beads, and I'm practicing going towards me, right? And if I was going to practice going away from me, I would go on the other side of the beads and I would roll away from you. And so say I was going to use the word love, 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 love. So a great thing to practice, you can say it out loud, or you can say it silently. And then you might even choose to go into your center line where those energy centers, the chakras are, and focus that energy. So maybe you have a pain or you have disharmony and you want a little attention, a little more energy going to those areas. You could focus, say, the heart or the center of the brain or the belly, or maybe all three. Love, 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 love. And you might do a whole round of 108. You might do that 3 times. You might have more than one mantra or phrase that you want to practice. It really just depends on the day, the time, what it is that you're working with. And the most important thing during meditation is to make sure you're breathing, allow it to be an experience. And then the final thing that I like to share about meditation is the mind. It's that seeing that image and allowing to let it go. So when you come into those more seated practices, stillness practices, maybe bringing your mantra, thoughts will come in, and that's totally fine. This is a way of cleansing, of purifying, of reviewing, releasing, transforming, right? It's a way to work through whatever it is that you're working through. If we just go to stillness, once again, we're missing all that space, right? It's that if we just jump to Ananda, there's so many other levels that we haven't even acknowledged. Sadness, grief, anger, right? They all serve a purpose, right? The practice is to not get stuck in one. And when you do, because we're human, to find tools and practices that can move you through them. And one of them can be meditation. So I hope that you found these practices helpful. Let me know in the comments if you're practicing anything below. I'd love to know what you're doing. If you found this video helpful, please share, like, subscribe. I'll be sharing more Yoga for Daily Living tips and other cosmic readings and other things with whole body wellness with yoga body elements. Thank you again, and enjoy your journey for meditation. Bye for now.